Well, shit. We live. We live in our lives. We living our lives. We are living a lie. We are living in this shit. We are alive in this shit, bhaiyo. We are alive. If we are alive, if we are alive and you know it, clap your hands. All right, that's a lot of cringe in one day, guys. Come on now. एक मिनट मेरे को यार लिंक शेयर करना है. एक सेकेंड यार. Let me just share a story. ठीक है, let me just share a freaking story. भाई गोल्ड मार्केट बूम, उसने टाइटल क्यों नहीं बदला हुआ? आई डोंट नो. भाई एक सेकेंड रुक जा तेजस. एक सेकेंड. वाई इज द टाइटल द सेम? That shit is insane, right? I mean, insanity भाई. स्ट्रीम सेटिंग्स. अच्छा एक सेकेंड, मैं इसको अभी चेंज करता हूँ गाइस. finding a topic for next report. That's right, we do market reports out here, something that I really enjoy doing, and I will be doing it all the time. Yes sir. Alright, I have changed the title. इसके बाद मेरे को स्टोरी डालना है, वो मैं डालता हूँ. उसके बाद वी कैन स्टार्ट. ठीक है, लेट्स प्ले अ सॉन्ग गाइस. I feel like playing a song right now. Do you guys listen to
Every plan comes with a 99.9% uptime guarantee along with a free domain name and award-winning support. No wonder we are the world's #1 web host. Unlock your online potential today with GoDaddy.
Okay, I have shared the story. Hopefully people will be watching this. Bhai.
I wanna be the new man of the year. No cap till his hands everywhere. Posh telling me that I'll never make it. Now I got proof that I'm taking it there. On pro, no I cannot be
We
scared.
live, gang.
Like Nike Air. They gon' see a new
Growth
man
protocol.
like
Is gold going to go up?
I wanna be the new man of the year. No cap till
That's
his
an
hands
interesting
everywhere.
question.
Posh telling me that I'll never make it. Now I got proof that
Prediction
I'm
for
taking it
gold
there.
in December 2026. What I'll say is, the gold is still going to go up, right? I think the gold is still going to grow. The price is still going to go up. See, last time around in the last stream we studied gold, right? And one of the things I noticed is कि not just JP Morgan, but Goldman Sachs as well, Morgan Stanley as well, have predicted that the gold prices are going to hit $6,000 per ounce. पर आउंस मतलब कितना रहता है अभी गोल्ड का प्राइस कितना है? गोल्ड का प्राइस कितना है? 1.5 लाख रुपए. ठीक है, इस 1.5 लाख का आई मीन इट विल ईजीली, आई थिंक इट विल हिट अराउंड कितना? 1/5 बढ़ेगा यहाँ से ना. 1/5 कितना रहता है इसका? 30,000. मतलब 1,90,000 के आसपास तो गोल्ड पक्का जाएगा. So the prices, yes, are still going to increase. The fundamentals are still looking in the right place right now. Should I? नहीं, ठीक है. I think we are doing good. Yes. So the gold prices are going to increase. Bro, why the hell? अच्छा ठीक है, चलो उसने टॉपिक तो बदल दिया एटलीस्ट. Okay, fine. So the topic of the today's stream is majorly to study some market. So I have been a guy who has always enjoyed making market reports, studying different markets and making reports on them. I have always sort of enjoyed doing, making strategies, you know, understanding businesses in detail, doing valuation for those businesses, and all of those things I have always enjoyed doing. So the sort of the sort of direction in which I want to take this channel is to sort of become a channel where we are studying different markets in very much in depth. We are collecting data about different markets, and we will be making reports on those markets, and we will be also trying to sell those reports to other people, so that we make some money out of it. So that is the sort of format I want to go with. So the thing is, first thing first. um I am building a product, which is not exactly being made by me, because I do not have time at all to sit and develop a new product. So I have a couple of, friends of mine, you can say, who are helping me out to build this product, essentially. Um, so we are building a product in team. So we take a meeting every single day from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m., and we discuss about the progress of our project. Similarly, so I am continuously involved in the process, and I absolutely enjoy making products, building teams, and all of that stuff. But the thing is, you cannot record that. You cannot record all of the journey. Like, you just cannot record your internal meetings and stuff. So that's not fun. So what I thought of is, what else am I good at, right? What else can I do on this channel? What else do I want to pursue in life in general? So one of the things I think I'm very good at is doing analysis of different industries, doing analysis of different businesses, creating strategies for different businesses. And that is something that can be, I can show it to you guys, not just you guys, but I can really also make reports for you guys if you need me to, where you can pay me some token amount and I'll make a detailed report for a specific industry. If you are a startup, if you are a business, you need some analysis of the industry. You need some understanding of what kind of market you are operating in smaller strategies, right? In execution strategies, even. I am also good at execution. It's not just that I'm good at only market research reports. It's like, I love doing execution. I love doing startup stuff as well. So I can really create good plans, very realistic plans, sticking to realistic deadlines, for startups as well. So if you need any kind of need to sort of validate any kind of idea, I won't be validating the idea myself. I will be doing the research first, and then I'll be showing you the analysis, and the conclusions need to be, or the inferences need to be drawn by you. So those are the kind of reports I am talking about here. And of course, I want to sort of help businesses in whatever way I can, right? In creating teams, in joining networks, in whatever way possible. I would love to help you guys out in some way, in whatever way I can. In marketing, in sales, in execution, in product. Finding the right product for the market is also a crucial thing. Finding PMF, very, very difficult thing, which we are trying to actively do also in our startup as well. So it's like, this is something that I have a lot of interest in. I have interest. So there are two facts, right? You either need soft skills, or you need hard skills, or you need both, right? So I am the kind of guy who leans more towards soft skills, but I'm trying to gain more hard skills as well at the same time. So hard skills are going to be like doing an analysis using a lot of data, maybe using Tableau, Power BI for that, maybe doing some Python for that, Then the soft skills are going to be the psychology of the customers, understanding of the customers, understanding of the market. um, I mean, and all of those things which are not really quantitative in nature, I feel like they are more soft skills. So I'm good at soft skills right now. I want to get better at hard skills. Um, so we will be also studying some Tableau, studying some Power BI while making these reports. We will be also learning a little bit of SQL here and there, also learning a little bit of Excel here and there, also learning a lot of finance also. I think something that really interests me in the recent times, and want to study more about finance for sure. So I think it will be very interesting for us to study these broad range of topics. So I'm excited for that shit, and I hope you guys are too. So first of all, I'm trying to find out a topic on which we can work on, right? A report subject. Um, I want a very sort of interesting market that I can study in detail. Right? There are multiple markets in India right now which I find interesting. There is data centers. It is a newer, comparatively new market in India. Now there are again older markets like automotive, which I have worked on extensively on in understanding how the component manufacturing works, how the tier 1s, tier 2s and tier 3s operate, and how the assembly takes place at the OEM levels. So all those things do matter to me. I have studied them essentially before. Um, so I don't want to study automotive once again. I do not also want to study HVAC, because HVAC and refrigeration are also legacy sort of industries. I want to sort of work on a new sort of a cutting edge industry where there's not a lot of research done already, or there's not a lot of information or PMF or GTM strategies being made on those topics. So I would like to touch on those topics. If they are unique enough, I would like to explore them essentially. So uh, so I was thinking about data centers. Definitely, data centers is something that interests me a lot. How data centers, but I mean, data centers are usually a subject for larger companies. It is not a subject for startups usually, unless you are a startup sort of enabling different kind of services for creating data centers. I think that is a good sort of a startup idea to work on, where you can create services uh, that help large companies set up their data centers in India. Or you can also even work on a product, I think. But product requires a lot of R&D, and R&D is something that is not going to get um, funded in India, and it is very hard to start a R&D business, and it takes a long time. So not a lot of startups are trying to get into creating a data cooling system. Not a lot of people are trying to do that. So maybe not even cooling systems. What are the startups working on right now in India? So one more thing that interests me a lot is aerospace. Right? I think that is a very interesting topic to study. Aerospace is an interesting market because we are not manufacturing any kind of engines in the aerospace industry in India right now. India mostly focuses on, I think, the what do you call them? Um, what do you call those components? They mostly focus on like creating that landing gear and yes, on the software side even more products are being made on the software side and embedded systems side, and people are also creating some sensors. Companies are there are companies which are creating landing gear. I mean, what kind of components are there, bro? Like I forgot about what I mean it. I am hella tired right now, so it is hard for me to even recollect shit right now. Sub assemblies for these components are somewhat present in India. Um, so there is a company called Collins Aerospace, which, so in India, what does it manufacture? What does it manufacture in India? Presence and spans in New Delhi, engineering, manufacturing, digital transformation, innovation. So what are they manufacturing here in India? Okay, let's check. What are Collins Aerospace manufacturing in India? What are they trying to manufacture here in India? So drug recommended settings. So they are doing avionics. Yes, this is the word I was looking for. Avionics, connected aviation solutions, interiors, mechanical systems, and mission systems. So we are talking about, so when it comes to avionics, I think it is more or less the landing gear, the what do you call, the wings and stuff like that, the wheels, the actuation system for the landing gear and all of that stuff I think is manufactured. Then there are aviation solutions. I don't know what that means really. Interior for avionics, so for aerospace, which is again, I mean, all of these things are very like sort of rudimentary. Nothing like nothing that sort of gives you that oomph. Why is my camera looking like that? Why? Okay. And do we have okay, perfect. So in Bangalore they have a manufacturing plant where they are doing all of these things like avionics, connected aviation solutions, interior, mechanical systems, and mission systems. In Hyderabad, what are they doing? Then again, same thing, right? Avionics, aerostructures, connected aviation, interiors, power controls, of course, mechanical systems and mission systems, avionics, connected aviation. So, I mean, all in all, what we can say is that they are sort of into avionics in India, uh, which is, I think, avionics includes all components really. Let's check. I think we should go deep into aerospace industry in India. I think that is an interesting industry to study. At the same time, I think I can actually benefit out of researching on this. I just need to go a lot more lot deeper into studying this industry. We will try and arrange some interviews with stakeholders in this industry as well, because I have a few contacts here, so that I can talk to these people and try to understand how the things work. They might not have the idea about the overall market size, but they can tell you the sort of functioning or the different segments of aerospace and how the technologies really operate. So we will try and go deep into understanding this the entire aerospace industry in India, and we'll try to properly draw segments of this industry, and after doing that proper segmentation, then maybe we can properly understand each segment vertical and identify the market size for each segment, and also try to gather information on what opportunities each of these segments present with, right? What are the startup opportunities even? um, I think that is an interesting topic to study. I think we should go deep on it, and I think this is something that I think a lot of people are also trying to create businesses out of, which is perfect. So I think we should go ahead with aerospace. I don't know about you guys, but I think aerospace is a good topic to study, and we should study aerospace in detail, in just depth, like just complete detail, right? So let's just try to go on encyclopedia to start things off, right? Aerospace in India, right? Let's just क्या बोलते हैं उसको, freaking shoot in the sky, right? Look, now this is good, right? I mean, AI is getting things done for me, and it is making things easier for me, so it's perfect. Indian aerospace is a rapidly growing sector driven by high domestic demand, government initiatives for self-reliance, strong engineering talent, and increasing private participation, focusing on defense, space, aviation, MRO, and components. So if you guys don't know, now defense is obviously a part of aerospace, because a lot of components, at the same time a lot of assemblies that happen in aerospace are also interusable in defense, because a lot of missiles and all of that shit requires components from aerospace industry. So space is there, obviously aviation is there. Aviation is like obviously planes and stuff. MRO, that is maintenance, repair, and operations, and manufacturing of components, of course. So okay, with key players like ISRO, HAL, DRDO, GE Aerospace, Mahindra Aerospace, and emerging startup positioning India for significant global growth. Karnataka serves as a major hub. That is, I think, the most obvious thing in the world right now. And the country aims to be in the top 5 defense exporter by 2030. That's interesting. So now when we are talking about aerospace, there is always an overlap between aerospace and defense. So I think what we should, defense is again a complete different uh, industry to study, because defense then also includes making of ammunition and stuff like that. Making of ammunition, and then the overall market will include all of that stuff as well. So we will go with aerospace. So under aerospace, whatever defense is covered, we will cover only that. I think that is something that makes sense. I don't know how we can really segregate it while actually doing the market sizing exercise, but we will come to that on a later stage, right? Also, while doing this research, we will try to go through as many documents as we can. We won't be just sort of, looking at the industry from a third point of view, but we will be trying to also get people's perspectives who are actually working in this industry. I think that will be an interesting thing to do, like talking to people who are into senior management positions in the aerospace industry, or even startup founders. Like I know a startup founder who is trying to create a cryogenic pump for aerospace in India. He's trying to solve for components in India for the aerospace industry. So we'll try and get him to also discuss things with us somehow, right? He lives in Pune, I live in Pune, so I think that is something that we can arrange, or I think I should be able to do, right? I should be able to get it done. Let's see. So defense space, strong R&D from ISRO. I think that's fair. That is government funded, right? So DRDO is also there, of course, with a push for indigenous production. HAL. So is HAL a government company? I think it is Hindustan Aeronautical Limited, right? HAL. Hindustan, yes, it is. is an Indian public sector aerospace and defense company headquartered in Bangalore. ठीक है, ये क्या क्या बनाता है? It is involved in designing, manufacturing and overhaul of combat aircraft, helicopters and unmanned aerial vehicles, jet and turbine engines, avionics and other hardware. Fair enough. मैं मतलब वो more or less सारी चीज़ों में है. ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है. Okay. So commercial aviation, booming market fueling demand for components. Of course, I think there is a huge demand for components, and a lot of startups are starting to manufacture for components for aerospace. MRO, maintenance, repair and overhaul. I think IAF is the main customer of HAL. IAF. Who is IAF? Acha, Indian Air Force, of course. Of course. So HAL is also public sector company, right? So it only makes sense. Dhruva, damn. My guy works in aerospace itself. So Dhruva, this the research that we are going to do, it's not just a one day research. I'll do a very thorough research on the entire industry. You might find this interesting. At the same time, we will try to make it insightful if you want to start a startup someday. I mean, this will be also useful for me as well. So let's see. Self-reliance policies like defense production and export promotion policy 2020 aim to boost domestic production and exports. ठीक है. This video discusses India's ambition to become a major aircraft manufacturing hub. ठीक है. What is the
You
gist?
always wondered why that
Yes,
app
sir.
didn't exist. Now you can make it. Meet Replit Agent.
India is accelerating its ambition to become a serious aircraft manufacturing hub. And two major international partnerships show
Embraer.
how fast things are moving. First, state-owned aerospace giant Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, or HAL, has signed a cooperation agreement with Russia's United Aircraft Corporation to produce the Superjet 100, also known as the SJ-100 in India. The aircraft is a twin-engine narrow-body regional jet designed to carry between 87 and 108 passengers. Under the deal, HAL will license produce the aircraft in India, directly supporting the government's Make in India program and reducing dependence on imported regional aircraft. HAL's chairman D.K. Sunil said the company plans to start rolling out semi-knockdown versions of the SJ-100 within the next 3 years using existing facilities. The idea is speed. HAL does not want to wait years for full-scale production. Instead, it plans to lease 10 to 20 aircraft directly from Russia in flyaway condition and deploy them quickly, while domestic assembly ramps up. Sunil estimates that India alone could need more than 200 aircraft in this category. Beyond assembly, HAL will also help Russia's UAC with certification and validation of the aircraft for Indian operations. In return, Russian specialists will assist HAL in upgrading production facilities and setting up supply chains. The agreement is expected to evolve into a broader roadmap covering timelines, costs, and workload sharing.
So what are we talking about? This SJ-100?
At the same time, India is also deepening aviation ties with Brazil.
So this SJ-100 is what, a commercial plane, or how is it? Like, is it a defense plane or a commercial plane?
Adani Aerospace and Defense has signed a memorandum of understanding with Embraer, the world's third largest aircraft manufacturer after Airbus and Boeing, to
Holy
assemble
shit.
commercial aircraft in India.
Commercial
It is
aircraft,
with immense
okay.
pride that I announce that Adani Defense is today entering into a landmark partnership with Embraer, one of the world's foremost aircraft manufacturers. Together, we will establish a regional aircraft manufacturing facility in India and a one-of-its-kind aviation ecosystem, a project that will redefine the future of aviation in our country.
Motabai
This
incoming,
partnership
Dhruv
is more
bhai.
than just a business agreement.
Motabai
It is a
incoming.
vision taking flight. It represents India's determination to build world-class aviation capabilities on our own soil, aligned with the national mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, India has embraced bold reforms and ambitious initiatives that have transformed infrastructure and industry. His call for self-reliance has inspired us to think bigger,
Now that's fair.
act faster, and deliver projects that Defense Secretary
Details such as the facility location and final partnership structure
No,
are
wait.
remains one of the fastest growing in the world.
while details such as the facility location and final partnership structure
So okay, it must be in Bangalore itself, right?
are still being finalized, both sides have made it clear that this is not just about final assembly. The Adani
Okay.
Embraer partnership aims to build a full regional transport aircraft ecosystem
Alright.
in India that includes manufacturing, supply chains, maintenance and repair operations, pilot training, and deeper localization of parts and subcomponents.
Okay.
Embraer sees India as a high growth market. The company already operates around 50 aircraft in India across military, government, and regional airline roles. It has also pitched its C-390 military transport aircraft to the Indian Air Force under a Make in India framework. The timing is no accident. India's civil aviation market is expanding rapidly.
So that is the
Driven
thing,
by
right?
rising
That is
passenger
the thing,
demand.
right? I mean, yeah, be HAL to build Russian SJ-100. Now this SJ-100 is what? Commercial aeroplane or defense aeroplane? So there is a thin line between aerospace and defense in general. So this SJ-100 is what? It is a Russian designed twin engine narrow body regional jet. अभी रीजनल जेट मतलब क्या विद कैपेसिटी ये तो मतलब कमर्शियल ही रहेगा ना इतना एक 103 पैसेंजर कैपेसिटी means it must be like a commercial aeroplane itself. Yes, it is a commercial. Okay, it must be commercial, right, Dhruva? Hello, long time no see. I'm on your channel after 4 years. Welcome, bhai. Welcome. Yes, I mean I have been uploading for the past 1 month or so. So it's not, I mean it's not my first time, but it's your first time for sure, man. Welcome to the channel. The shape of the channel has changed for sure, bhai. I mean we are doing different shit now. We are doing really different shit from what we used to do. But yeah, you can check out our previous videos, some of our previous videos to get some context. But yeah, we are studying aerospace today. How are you, man? How is life? I mean, my life has been fair. Not too hard, not too soft, whatever. Yes, it's commercial. Yeah, it is commercial. Fair. It is for how much? 35 million USD. Okay. Got it. So we are talking about, like, there is a thin line between defense and aerospace. So I see.
And the government's Udan scheme, which is
So
revived
what is the Udan scheme, by the way? I have heard of this Udan scheme before as well. This Udan scheme, what is it? What is it? Need to check if there are any investments to build a technology from scratch in India itself rather than being reliant on foreign companies. Yeah, I mean, Dhruva, we might have to do a small little interview on this shit. I have to understand a lot of things from you in general about the industry. But I mean, I know that engines are never being manufactured in India. Most of the, I think, core stuff is still being imported to create aircrafts as well as rockets. Technology rather than being, yeah, yes. So this Embraer and Adani partnership, is it like, I mean, they will be manufacturing in India, right? The technology and the design will be from outside, but they will be manufacturing here in India, if I'm not wrong, right? Okay, so Udan is what? Okay, airfare capped at 2000. What the hell? What is Udan scheme? Aims to develop smaller regional airports. Yes, I know this shit, right? I have talked about this in a reel. Holy shit. How can I forget this? Yeah, of course. I know this. Right. Allow common citizens easier. Right. The scheme is an important. Oh, yeah. Got it.
5 dozens of underserved and unserved airports.
Right.
Indian Airlines have already placed orders for more than 1800 aircraft, signaling long-term growth.
1800 aircrafts from where? So this SJ100, is it like a smaller aeroplane? So what is the usual capacity of an aeroplane? I'm just trying to gain in general knowledge about how things work, right? What is the usual capacity of an aeroplane? So I think one of the large themes in India, yes, the technology is foreign. They are just outsourcing the manufacturing to India, right? So same as how it used to be in China, right? So it is 160 seats is the normal, right? So the Boeing planes have 160 seats ka capacity. So the small and regional jets are like 50 to 100 seats. So this SJ100 we were talking about is a regional jet essentially. Fair enough. So I think the new trend in the aerospace is something key, how we can connect two small towns with each other using aeroplane, right? So they are creating like smaller aeroplanes to sort of decrease the cycle time and increase the throughput of number of flights that can happen in one day. It is something like that, right? So they are creating these smaller jets. Medium range is what? Narrow body. Long range is wide body and large jumbo jets जिसमें 400 से 800 सीट्स रहती हैं. That's too many. Long range wide body में okay, 737 is like a usual मतलब common aeroplane, is it? जो अपना जनरली जो अपना फ्लाइट रहता है वो 737 का रहता है क्या? ठीक है, fair enough.
According to Embraer's own forecast, India will need at least 500 regional jets in the 80 to 140 seat category over the next 20 years. Exactly the space targeted by the SJ100 and
right.
Embraer's.
Right. So these type of, right, the small regional jets type. They need 500 of these regional jets essentially, right?
E-Jets family. India is no longer just buying planes. It wants to assemble them and eventually build them. With partnerships spanning Russia and Brazil and a focus on regional connectivity, jobs and self-reliance, India's runway to becoming a global regional aircraft hub is finally taking shape.
What is
With Farhan Khan,
global
Bureau
regional
Report,
aircraft
India
hub?
Today Global.
Got it. So yeah, I was exploring this startup, right? In a reel I saw this startup called, what was the name of that freaking startup? Stupid ass startup by, what was the name of that startup? It was funded by this the Zomato founder. It was funded by Zomato founder or something. Wait, I know this.
India doesn't need airports, it needs buses in the sky. And the crazy part is our government has already built the infrastructure for this. Under Udan, government has already built around 100 plus airports and airstrips in tier 3 and tier 2 towns. But in such small towns, the big planes fail because of high fuel burn, high crew cost and low demand. Now we already have a startup solving this, LAT Aerospace.
Right, LAT Aerospace. How I'm just okay. LAT Aerospace, right? Yes, funded by this Deepinder Goyal guy. So LAT Aerospace, right? flight as easy as taking a bus, right? Fair enough. I did see their website as well. Imagine a world where flying feels as effortless as taking a bus, where air travel is affordable and unlocks true door-to-door speed and stuff like that. We are hiring. Rewriting aviation, making air travel seamless. Fair enough here. Hybrid electric propulsion. We are combining batteries that deliver takeoff power for short runways with efficient engines for range and endurance. The result: low fuel burn, fewer emissions, and reliable regional performance. Okay. Autonomy. Aircraft will feature built-in autonomous. So yes, I mean this is true, right? True throughout this aerospace industry. I mean, as Elon Musk introduced a lot of software into cars, there is still not a lot of software into these aerospace into the this aerospace industry, right? It still operates. I mean, there are these larger organizations which maybe are focusing more on their legacy systems rather than trying to do some innovation and shit. So this might be a good idea. I don't know. Pilot assist and stability, navigation and safety functions, reducing workload and enabling scalable high frequency operations. High lift wings and distributed propulsion provide the extra lift for the quick takeoffs and ultra compact air stops, making aviation accessible without commercial airports. So acha. So it does not require a lot of space to land essentially. Fair enough. I mean, those are just some obvious things, but an interesting startup idea indeed. Why? That much I must say. ठीक है. So let us just ask this to ChatGPT, right? I think it's an obvious next step to take. Is कि let's just try to set a good background for ourselves. Let's drop a good query. Let's write a good prompt here. I think I should just open a different browser. तुम लोगों को दिखेगा नहीं अभी वो ब्राउज़र यार. ठीक है. Now okay, let's write a good query. I'd suggest, yes, the technology is for what you would suggest, Dhruva? Can you give me an overview of the Indian aerospace technology and manufacturing space? I'd suggest Google's AI Studio, easier to manage. Not ChatGPT, Google's AI Studio. You're talking about Gemini or what? Google. AI Studio. Integrate the Gemini, no credit card required. Develop with Gemini. Yeah, you're talking about this for coding, right? from to production. Bro, we are not creating an application right now. I know this. I think I have used this. Maybe then technology manufacturing space. Give me an I want to get a detailed understanding of the market, of the scope of the market बोलते हैं इसको, scope of the market. ठीक है. एटलीस्ट अगर क्वालिटेटिवली एक बार थोड़ा अंदाज़ा आ जाए देन वी कैन मूव ऑन टू क्वांटिटी. पहले तो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द इंडस्ट्री इन डिटेल. उसमें नॉट जस्ट लाइक मतलब कंसेप्चुअली भी अपन को पता होना चाहिए कि व्हाट वी आर गेटिंग इनटू. एटलीस्ट इट कैन बी यूज फॉर लॉन्ग रिसर्च. ओके गॉट इट. बी ईजियर टू मैनेज योर थिंग. ओके, get started. Continue. I acknowledge that I am a developer. Building नहीं यार, मेरे को बिल्ड नहीं करना कुछ. I have to receive useful observation. What is my research studies and news about Google? नहीं. So chat with models, monitor API usage, explore Nano Banana Pro, try Gemini Flash Intelligent Model 2. अच्छा, quick start, default project, quick start, build dashboard, documentation, playground, enable saving. Bro, all of these projects are like you have to import default projects. चैट विद द मॉडल्स बोलूँगी अभी मैं. अच्छा, वो गूगल सर्च के साथ कनेक्टेड है ऑब्वियसली. आई मीन फॉर ऑब्वियस रीजन. चैट विद द मॉडल्स. ओके गॉट इट. टेक्स्ट टू स्पीच, इमेज जनरेशन, कोड रीजनिंग एंड चैट फीचर्ड. गॉट इट. Okay, wait. Can you give me an overview of the Indian aerospace technology and manufacturing space? I want to get a detailed understanding of the scope of the market in India, and also understand the existing incumbents and their scope of work, essentially work in India. Yes, and अब अपन को ये भी देखना पड़ेगा कि इन्वेस्टमेंट लैंडस्केप क्या है. वेयर आर द ऑल्सो टेल मी वेयर आर द. मेरे को इसमें लॉगिन करना पड़ेगा कि पहले नहीं लॉगिन कर लिया मैंने. ठीक है. ऑल्सो टेल मी वेयर आर द इन्वेस्टमेंट्स गोइंग इन द एरोस्पेस इंडस्ट्री इन इंडिया. इंडिया थोड़ा मैं बार बार मेंशन कर रहा हूँ सो दैट वो कंफ्यूज ना हो जाए. अच्छा, वी कैन एडजस्ट द टेम्परेचर एंड शिट. मीडिया रिजोल्यूशन, थिंकिंग लेवल अपन पूरा हाई रखते हैं. आई थिंक दैट मेक्स सेंस. टेम्परेचर क्या रहता है लोअर वैल्यूज़ में. इम्पैक्ट रीजनिंग क्या रखना, टेम्परेचर हाई रखना है, लो रखना होता है. फिर स्ट्रक्चर्ड आउटपुट्स. स्ट्रक्चर्ड ज़रूरी नहीं है. यू डोंट वांट स्ट्रक्चर्ड आउटपुट्स एज सच. फंक्शन कॉलिंग नहीं यार, वो सब नहीं. कोड एग्जीक्यूशन ये करना ही नहीं है. कोड तो डालना ही नहीं है इसमें कुछ. टेम्परेचर बढ़ाऊँ क्या इसका? हाई टेम्परेचर. ओके 1.8 2 ठीक है, पूरा है। ग्राउंडिंग विद गूगल सर्च, हाँ ये चलेगा, ये सबसे बेस्ट है। URL कॉन्टेक्स्ट क्या रहता है? ब्राउज द URL कॉन्टेक्स्ट। ब्राउज द URL कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑन रखो या ऑफ रखो ध्रुव? आई थिंक नेवर माइंड, लेट्स जस्ट शूट द क्वेरी। अपन के पास कुछ नहीं है अभी। ओके सो यू हैव, ओके यू कैन ऑल्सो API की वगैरह भी डाल सकते हैं इसमें, सही है। ओके लेट्स सी what it gives us. Does it take a long time to think? Expand to view model thoughts. Yes, I want to see what is he thinking about. Analyzing in, I am currently researching market size. Market size also is calculating, or what? If there's a URL in the prompt, you will need that. Okay, there's no URL. ठीक है. Save your conversation in Google Drive recommended. Yes, ये तो करेंगे ना अपन. Save easily find the past conversations. ठीक है, enable कर देते हैं इसको. अच्छा वो अभी तक स्टडी कर रहा है यार। भाई सो अब इतने सारे सर्च टर्म्स उसने सर्च कर लिए क्या? दैट शिट इज इनसेन यार। सो इट हैज नॉट गिवन मी द आउटपुट राइट, और दिस द अच्छा ये आउटपुट ही है भाई। साला इतना ही आउटपुट दिया रे ध्रुव इसने। क्या क्या सर्च टर्म्स यूज़ किया वो दिया है उसने। ठीक है देखते हैं, पढ़ के तो देखते पहले। ठीक है हो गया स्टडी। अच्छा ओके ठीक है। द इंडियन एरोस्पेस इंडस्ट्री इज अंडरगोइंग अ स्ट्रक्चरल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, शिफ्टिंग फ्रॉम अ स्टेट डोमिनेटेड मॉडल टू अ वाइब्रेंट प्राइवेट सेक्टर लेड इकोसिस्टम फ्यूल्ड बाय अ हाई रिकॉर्ड हाई डिफेंस बजट। रिकॉर्ड है तो रहेगा ही ना, वो हर साल बढ़ जाता है। 82 billion for 2024 to 25 and one of the world's fastest growing commercial aviation markets. Okay, commercial aviation fastest growing है। अच्छा markets means कि buyers बहुत ज़्यादा है commercial aviation के लिए। Am I right? अभी अपन के पास क्योंकि नए एयरपोर्ट्स आ रहे हैं तो मार्केट बढ़ गया है उसका, मतलब डिमांड फॉर commercial aviation is increasing. India is transitioning from component supplier to a global hub for final aircraft assembly and high tech R&D. अभी ये component supplier, so what does this mean? ये ancillary component है या फिर क्योंकि component तो बहुत सारे रहता है ना उसमें, engine भी तो एक component ही है एक हिसाब से। ठीक है, मतलब component supplier था पहले। face cam थोड़ा small कर दें। ओके ठीक है, हाँ नहीं मेक सेंस। अभी शायद चैट पूरा दिख रहा होगा, सही है। प्राइवेट सेक्टर इकोसिस्टम ये 82 बिलियन का मार्केट साइज है 24-25 में, ठीक है। एंड वन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड्स फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग कमर्शियल एरिया, ये तो पढ़ लिया अपन ने। India is transitioning from a component supplier to a global hub for final okay. So the budget for the aerospace is $82 billion and the Indian aerospace defense market is estimated to reach 70 billion by 2030. अभी मेरे को समझ नहीं आया, okay, so the defense budget is 82 billion, fair enough. So the defense budget is 82 billion. Okay, got it. ठीक है। So is the aerospace budget, okay, I have a few questions. In the budget, is aerospace budget calculated separately? in India? या फिर वो डिफेंस में ही आ जाता है. द एरोस्पेस बजट इन जनरली कैलकुलेटेड एलोकेटेड डिस्टिंक्ट कंपोनेंट यूनियन बजट. डिफेंस एरोस्पेस स्पेस. अच्छा ये स्पेस का तो अलग ही रहेगा ना पूरा इस इसरो का. सिविल एविएशन अलग रहेगा यार. ये अलग अलग रहता है. फिर अपन मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ डिफेंस ये बजट की बात कर रहे थे अपन. सो ये डिफेंस एरोस्पेस का बजट $82 मिलियन है. बिलियन डॉलर सॉरी, है ना. एक बार कंफर्म करवाते हैं फिर भी, क्योंकि एरोस्पेस का अलग से भी रहेगा ना. ये स्पेस का अलग से रहेगा बजट, डिफेंस एरोस्पेस का अलग से रहेगा. इसका देखते हैं एक सेकंड. बजट इन 2026 अभी अनाउंस हुआ है भाई. तो भाई ये अभी कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा भाई. भाई सज़ा दे रहा है भाई. एक सेकेंड, इसका अभी क्या करूँ मैं. इससे अच्छा एक काम करता हूँ यार, पूरा डिस्प्ले कैप्चर ही कर देता हूँ. बहुत बकचोदी होगी. टेम्परेचर एक कर दे. ऑल्सो यू कैन चेक द रेफरेंसेस इट हैज़ पुट. ओके ठीक है, लेट्स डू दैट. जस्ट गिव मी अ सेकेंड. थोड़ा मैं ये टेंजेंट पे चला गया. इसको मेरे को कैलकुलेट करके बिलियन में देखना था, लेकिन मेरे ख्याल यही है भाई. ये डिफेंस एरोस्पेस का जो बजट है वो $82 बिलियन है. $83 बिलियन. ठीक है. उसमें से ये ओवरऑल डिफेंस और एरोस्पेस का मार्केट $70 बिलियन है. एरोस्पेस एंड डिफेंस का बजट ये मार्केट. सो ये बजट अगर 82 बिलियन है तो उसमें से मार्केट 70 बिलियन का है. तो बचा हुआ मार्केट शायद फिर बाकी के जो डिफेंस के चीज़ें रहेंगी, जैसे कि रिक्रूटमेंट रहता है, फिर एम्यूनिशन रहता है. आई थिंक वो सारी चीज़ों में बाकी का एक 12 बिलियन के आसपास वो सारी चीज़ें रहेंगी. लेकिन मोस्ट ऑफ द डिफेंस का भी बजट शायद से फिर एरोस्पेस में ही जाता रहेगा, इज़ वॉट माई अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज़. तो इसका क्या टेम्परेचर एक कर दूँगा वापस. ठीक है ठीक है. हाँ ये सोर्सेज भी चेक करते हैं भाई. सोर्सेज उसने satellite-today.com, एविएशन डेटा. ठीक है देखते हैं एक सौ एक. ठीक है. सिविल एविएशन, इंडियन कैरियर्स इंडिगो एयर इंडिया हैव नियरली 1200 कैरियर्स ऑन ऑर्डर. कब? इन 2025-6. दिस मैसिव फ्लीट एक्सपांशन इज फोर्सिंग द लोकलाइजेशन ऑफ द ग्लोबल चेन. ठीक है. Defense indigenization. Under the Atmanirbhar Bharat policy, the government has banned the import of the hundreds of defense items, mandating that at least 70% of the defense requirement be met indigenously by 2030. That's a lot. So अभी डिफेंस का स्पेंडिंग अगर 70% अगर रिक्वायरमेंट इंडिजिनसली करना है, और डिफेंस का बजट 82 बिलियन है अभी. अच्छा तो और अभी कितना है फिर ये परसेंटेज. ज़्यादा क्लैरिटी नहीं दे रहा ये रे. ठीक है देखते हैं. न्यू स्पेस. विद द स्पेस पॉलिसी 2023, इसरो इज पिवटिंग टू प्योर R&D, आउटसोर्सिंग द मैच्योर टेक्नोलॉजी टू प्राइवेट कंसोर्टियम. अच्छा अच्छा. PSLV और SSLV जो रॉकेट्स है वो अभी आउटसोर्स कर रहा है प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स को. मोदी जी है ना पावर में, तो भाई सारा प्राइवेटाइजेशन कर रहा है वो. आई थिंक मेक सेंस. द की इनकम्बेंट्स एंड देयर स्कोप. द लैंडस्केप इज डिवाइडेड बिटवीन ट्रेडिशनल पब्लिक सेक्टर अंडरटेकिंग एंड रैपिडली एडवांसिंग प्राइवेट सेक्टर. ये प्राइवेट सेक्टर पहले था ही नहीं, अभी है, जो अच्छी बात है. ठीक है. कैटेगरी. सो पब्लिक सेक्टर HAL पब्लिक सेक्टर के अंदर आता है, BL पब्लिक सेक्टर के अंदर आता है. सबसे बड़े होंगे वो शायद. तो प्रोडक्शन ऑफ तेजस LCA एंड प्रचंड हेलीकॉप्टर्स. अच्छा. शिफ्टिंग टुवर्ड्स 5th gen ऑफ जेट डिज़ाइन एंड हेलीकॉप्टर एक्सपोर्ट. ठीक है. डोमिनेट्स द एवियोनिक्स एंड रडार सेगमेंट्स. अच्छा ठीक है. पार्टनर्ड विद सैफरन. आई हैव हर्ड दिस नेम बिफोर. फॉर एयर टू सरफेस वेपन्स हैमर. अच्छा एयर टू सरफेस मतलब देखते हैं क्या होता है. टाटा TAS ये भी सुना है मैंने, प्राइवेट सेक्टर का सबसे बड़ा है ये. द करंट लीडर ऑपरेट्स इंडियाज फर्स्ट प्राइवेट फाइनल असेंबली लाइन. अच्छा, गॉड डैम भाई. So they haven't. So having an assembly is like a big deal, huh? So only OEMs can go for an assembly, for obvious reasons, right? So they will be procuring a lot of components from the tier ones. ठीक है, तो अभी हम बाद में ये सर्च करेंगे कि किस OEM को एरोस्पेस में किस OEM को कौन सा टियर 1 सप्लायर सप्लाई करता है, ये अपन को देखना पड़ेगा. C-20 ठीक है. एयरक्राफ्ट एयरबस प्रोड्यूसेस फ्यूजलाज फॉर बोइंग्स अपाचे. फ्यूजलाज क्या रहता है? क्विक सर्च मारता हूँ भाई. द मेन बॉडी एंड द सेंट्रल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द एयरक्राफ्ट. ठीक है. क्रिटिकल इन एरोस्पेस स्ट्रक्चर्स एंड लॉन्च व्हीकल्स. लीड प्लेयर इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ऑफ PSLV रॉकेट्स. ठीक है. लार्सन एंड टूब्रो. अडानी नहीं है कि अभी तक? महिंद्रा और अडानी का भी तो एरोस्पेस का डिवीजन्स था ना, उसमें अभी है नहीं अभी तक. देखते हैं आगे. स्पेशलाइज्ड इन टियर 1 सप्लायर्स. स्पेशलाइज्ड टियर 1 सप्लायर. सो ये इक्वस एंड डायनेमिक टेक, ये टियर 1 सप्लायर है. और मैसिव एरोस्पेस SCG इन बेलगावी. अच्छा, ये बेलगावी है क्या? बेलगावी बेंगलोर के काफ़ी नज़दीक है ना मेरे ख्याल. Dynamatics makes A220 doors for Airbus. अच्छा, ठीक है. स्काई रूट एंड अग्निकुल टेक स्टार्टअप्स तो बहुत रहेंगे. ये सबसे बड़ा है क्या? इन द न्यू स्पेस सेक्टर, फोकसिंग ऑन स्मॉल सैटेलाइट लॉन्च व्हीकल्स एंड 3D प्रिंटेड इंजन्स. ठीक है. इंजन्स किस चीज़ के लिए? लॉन्च व्हीकल्स के लिए क्या? ठीक है. इन्वेस्टमेंट हॉटस्पॉट्स. इन्वेस्टमेंट इन 2024 and 25 are no longer speculative. They are flowing into hard manufacturing and infrastructure. So see, from what I've understood, right, तो मैंने अभी तक जो ऑटोमोटिव के बारे में स्टडी किया है इंडिया में, द ऑटोमोटिव सेगमेंट हैज़ ग्रोन significantly in India. It is a very mature industry at this point, and it is very evident, right? There are so many tier 1s, there are so many tier 2 component manufacturers, there are so many tier 3 component manufacturers, and the supply chain is just so robust for automotive in India right now that any new company trying to set up their assembly plants in India is also looking to expand into the entire production process, not just the assembly. So even this company MG, right? MG is a what? I think it is a Chinese company, right? Morris Garages I think Chinese नहीं है. कौन सा कंपनी है? कंट्री ऑफ ओरिजिन क्या है इसका? UK. This company they were setting up their plant in Gujarat, and they are now also looking to get into production in India, because it is very easy. Once you set up a CKD assembly in India, it is easier to go and also set up production for components. So similar things I think will happen in aerospace as well. So this Embraer that we saw earlier, what do? They are into, hopefully they are assembling the entire plane and shit. Embraer India operations. अभी क्या करता है? more than 44 aircraft operating in the country. वो तो ठीक है, मैं कह रहा हूँ India manufacturing operations. I think they must be setting up their assembly itself. तो ये सारे जो मल्टीनेशनल्स है वो यहाँ पे आके असेंबली सेटअप करेंगे. एग्रेसिवली एक्सपांडिंग मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्री, ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग सेल्स फोकस प्रेजेंस टू एस्टैब्लिशिंग स्ट्रैटेजिक मेक इन इंडिया हब फॉर प्रोडक्शन. वो अडानी के साथ मिलके, मतलब वो बस ये देखो, एम्ब्रेयर डिसीजन टू एक्सप्लोर अ फाइनल असेंबली लाइन ईजेट्स इंडिया हैज़ बीन बोथ अ पुअरली केप्ट सीक्रेट एंड अ मूव. ओके, एनीवे, सो इट इज़ यूजुअली कि बाहर के लोग, बाहर के बड़े बड़े कंपनीज आके इंडिया में पहले असेंबली सेटअप करते हैं, वो एक बार असेंबली सेटअप कर दे, उसके बाद tier 1s start to also manufacture some of the components locally in order to provide cheaper components to the assembly, so to the larger companies, to the multinational companies. So ऐसा ही होता है हमेशा. So once good amount of assembly shops get set up in India, वो कितने सेटअप होने चाहिए, तो tier 1 suppliers will also increase in India. ये अपन को चेक करना पड़ेगा कि how many assemblies are there for manufacturing of aeroplanes. And I have many questions actually when it comes to how the distinction between avionics and aeroplanes and rockets, what is the difference between the two in general. I think there are a lot of differences, but I think there are different companies manufacturing these two individually, right? There are different companies for avionics and aeroplanes and different companies for aerospace and rockets is what I think. तो ये थोड़ा सा सीन रहेगा उसमें, ठीक है. So investment of sports, foreign direct investment, Saffron investing over 200 million in Hyderabad for its largest global engine MRO, maintenance repair operations and a separate facility in Bangalore for actuators. अभी ये एक्चुएटर लैंडिंग गियर में भी लगता है एक्चुएटर, वो लैंड करते वक्त एक्चुएशन होने के लिए व्हील्स का वगैरह. आई थिंक देर आर मेनी काइंड ऑफ एक्चुएटर्स राइट इन एन एरोप्लेन. और मेंटेनेंस रिपेयर ऑपरेशंस ये तो साइट्स रहते हैं मेरे ख्याल से. इट इज़ लाइक क्या बोलते हैं उसको, इट इज़ लाइक अ गराज बेसिकली. जैसे गराज में अपने पास कैसे वो टायर रिपेयर करने के लिए वगैरह चीज़ें रहती है, इट इज़ लाइक अ गराज इटसेल्फ. सो दे हैव द लार्जेस्ट ग्लोबल इंजन MRO in Hyderabad, $200 million worth. God damn. Committed 330 million to expand its Pune manufacturing plant and signed a historical deal with co-produce F414 jet engine for Tejas in India. ठीक है. Established a digital capability center in Bangalore. ठीक है. Defense technology funds, the government has earmarked 1,000 crore for a dedicated venture capital fund for space startups. God damn, interesting. We will redirection notice if you don't. हाँ, मैं वहाँ पे जाना चाहता हूँ सर. Thank you very much. Government reforms. So private partnership behind Indian space industry growth in 2024. Reforms by the government coupled with the private partnership played a crucial role in the growth of the space industry in 2024, said the Indian Space Association, noting that 2025 is poised to be the year of transformative development. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे फंडिंग कौन दे रहा भाई? Reforms made by the government coupled with the private partnerships played a crucial role in growth of the Indian space industry in 2024, said, ठीक है, is poised to be a year of transformation. Freak. So हाँ, ये देखना है अपन को. ISPA stated the government reforms like the foreign direct investment policy, the 1,000 crore venture capital fund and a thriving startup ecosystem coupled with the dynamic public-private partnership propelled the space sector growth. देता कौन है रे ये वेंचर कैपिटल, देता कौन है स्पेस टेक में? The Indian government's continued focus on strategic policy reforms not only opens the door for significant private sector investments but also ensures that the India stays at the forefront of global space innovation. With the continuous support from the government and the push for the public, ठीक है, the private sector is witnessing a major growth in the startup ecosystem driven by favorable. This is all a generic information. ये नीचे क्या दिया हुआ है? In the space sector was launched under the Indian space policy. It allows 100% FDI under the automatic route for satellite components and systems. अच्छा, up to 74% for satellite manufacturing and operation and 49% for launch vehicles and spaceports. ठीक है. ऑटोमेटिक राउट फॉर सैटेलाइट कंपोनेंट्स एंड सिस्टम्स. यार कंपोनेंट के लिए वो काफ़ी हेल्प आउट कर रहे हैं लोगों को सेटअप करने के लिए प्लांट. In October, the cabinet approved 1,000 crore VC fund for the space sector, bolstering the startup and private players. 1,000 crore का VC तो बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. It is also approved phase 3 of the space-based surveillance project, targeting the launch of 52 satellites to enhance surveillance. This involved the manufacturing of 31 satellites by private sector, providing immense opportunity in the industry. So satellite बनाना is a different business. Satellite का payload बनाना is a different business. Satellite का launch vehicle बनाना is a different business. I don't know which business is better. Maybe there is some opportunity in the payload as well for AI chips and stuff like that. अगर payload में तुम AI chip वगैरह डाल दोगे तो अगर कुछ मतलब advanced shit कर पाओगे शायद. तो maybe I don't know. Let's see. Further, the year also witnessed the laying of foundation stone for India's second spaceport in Tamil Nadu. Tata Advanced TSL and the Satellogical launched India's first private submetric high resolution Earth observation satellite in April. The world's first rocket powered by fully 3D printed. It doesn't matter too much. Funding for Indian space tech startups reached 76 million in 2024, bringing total funding to Acha. This include Pixel, Dhruva Space is what? XD Link Labs, PeerSight, Ethereal X. Fair enough. Notably, ZAM and NSIL invited private firms to apply for the end-to-end manufacturing of the launch vehicle Mark III. ठीक है. These initiatives center push become a key customer for the India's private sector. So basically what they're doing is the ISRO itself is trying to outsource a lot of manufacturing to other people and trying to concentrate on R&D itself. In a way it is, I think, better for the entire ecosystem because private players are more efficient and more technology driven than the public sector. They are better at scaling things than the public sector. Public sector can be better at R&D. The resources can be better spent in R&D rather than trying to scale in the market. Makes sense. ठीक है. So venture capital, space tech, drone tech startups. Space tech and drone tech again is a different thing, right? Idea Force, I think, is a drone tech startup. Skyroot is a drone tech startup. Pixel, I don't know. Skyroot, I don't know. Skyroot, I'm not sure of. Raised over 500 million in 2025 alone, representing an 80% jump in the previous year. God damn, bhai. 80% jump in the previous. So venture capital बढ़ रहा है भाई धीरे धीरे. Oh, so there was also this video यार जो मेरे को देखना था actually. It was about Skyroot Space F. What is it? Space F5. अच्छा हाँ, got it. Skyroot is space tech. ठीक है, got it. Strategic shifts to watch for. The AMCA breakthrough in 2024 and 2025. The Ministry of Defense moved to sideline PSUs. I forgot what this is. It's a very stupid move for me to make, but I should know PSUs. Paid up share capital. 51% government owned corporations where central or state government holds at least 15% paid up capital. Right. So कितना paid up capital है? Defense move to sideline where 5th generation. अच्छा. अच्छा, okay. So they decided to give it to people in the private sector itself, जो PSUs नहीं है basically. ठीक है. The MRO hub status. Now, MRO is an interesting thing, right? अच्छा, as far as I know, god damn भाई यार बेंच भाई इतने शॉर्टकट्स भाई माँ कसम भाई अफवाह क्या होता है भाई अब god damn as far as I know that's insane, that's an insane shortcut भाई FI India is slashing taxes अच्छा 18% to 5% for aircraft parts. Why was it 18% by the way? Why the hell was it 18% in the first place? To stop airlines from sending planes to Dubai or Singapore for repairs. Okay. Air India is building a massive 35-acre MRO hub in Bangalore, and Boeing launched the BIRDS. अच्छा मतलब Boeing India Repair Development and Sustainment program to build a local repair network. ठीक है. So MRO is also increasing basically. Fair enough यार. अभी ना मेरे को एक एक्चुअली वीडियो पता है. एक बंदा अच्छा हाँ यही है भाई.
What do you think?
एक सेकेंड. This is a very good channel by the way. It is from Zerodha. So they make really brilliant videos on different shit. So I like their videos. They are freaking good.
Think of when I say the word deep tech.
So okay, we are talking about why space tech startups are finally winning. Let's see. Like interesting topic. But deep tech is I think different than space tech. Because deep tech also involves quantum computing and all that jazz. Also includes fusion reactor and stuff like that. But anyways, let's watch this.
Do you think of semiconductors that power this mobile phone, defense equipment, or do you think of something else? It's quite likely that many of you didn't even think of semiconductors, drones, or defense equipment, but rather you thought of a rocket ship.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Taking off from the launch pad, the thrusters igniting, and then seeing the various segments slowly give way, the reality is that while deep tech has several angles to it, from semiconductors to drones to defense to bio, space is the final frontier of mankind. And because space launches are so spectacular to see, space tech tends to occupy most of the mind share when it comes to deep tech. And today, we're going to do a breakdown of India's $10 billion space tech opportunity. We are going to cover the journey so far. Number 2, what government support is available.
Like
Number
$10 billion opportunity? 10 billion?
3, what happened from this time period of 2010 to 2020? Welcome to Breakdown. Let's get started.
So what is breakdown? मतलब थोड़ा बस background देने के लिए. So breakdown is a channel which talks about different kind of industries. They talk about different markets and opportunities for startups to make videos on. Not to make videos on. Hell, to create startups on.
Are you someone who gets anxious every time you need to speak up at a meeting, at a social gathering, or even a one-on-one conversation?
गिरा रही है.
The Breakdown YouTube channel is part of the 01 network powered by Zerodha. Well, let's get started. If you were to ask any investor of the Indian space ecosystem, they would tell you one thing. Something happened in the years 2024 and 2025 which have catalyzed the space tech ecosystem in the country. And I completely agree with them. There are 3 broad things that happened in India in 2024-2025. The first is fundraisers became serious. The second is government regulations became even more supportive. And the final is product milestones have ignited not just the general public interest, but also investor interest in the space. 2024-2025 were the years where space tech ventures went from getting seed capital to getting serious Series A money. So let's go through the list of fundraise announcements. investments. Dhruva Space announced a $15 million Series A, and Satshore also announced its $15 million Series A. Pixel announced a $24 million Series B round, and the blockbuster news came out. Digantra to raise a $50 million funding round. What was earlier $150,000 and $1 million grants had now become multi-million dollar financing rounds to back not just the entrepreneurs but the companies that were starting to see some form commercial traction. So great, capital is starting to flow in, but what about the companies? And this is where the public became aware of what was happening. It started in May 2024 when newspapers and TV channels were plastered with the news of what happened at Sriharikota, where Agnikul Cosmos successfully test fired that fully 3D printed rocket
Agnikul is also a startup
engine of it. And if you saw that launch video, it honestly was awe-inspiring and proof that Indian engineering can be globally optimal as well. Now, Agnikul's successful launch was followed up when two Indian startups successfully landed and went live in space. The first is Pixel. This was also accompanied by Digantra. The highlight of 2025 was to see how fast a private space tech company called Skyroot has made progress. And they managed to hit a series of technical milestones that ultimately culminated in them getting a shout out from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But I think the key takeaway is three things came together in
is he a YouTuber or something?
the most wonderful way. There was
Why
real
is this shout out
demonstrable technology progress, which was coupled by conviction investors coming in and writing large checks. That's a quick summary of what happened in the years 2024 and 2025. Now let's move to the second part. What support does the government provide? We'll start with an entity called InSpace. It was created
Literally freaking read about this. About whatever he's saying.
by the government in June 2020 with the objective of providing this single window for the private sector to approach to get clearances for launch at a very high level. You have the Ministry of Space, under which you get ISRO and InSpace are complementary public sector entities. The role of InSpace is to provide that single window clearance. InSpace also plays a role in the allocation of tenders on behalf of the government and Ministry of Space. On the other hand, the role of ISRO is to focus more on foundational research, is to run national or strategically important missions. For example, Chandrayaan, ISRO itself provides InSpace with a set of resources. What are some of these resources? ISRO has space technology incubation centers which provide you with the real estate and access to tooling. ISRO also, through an entity called the New Space India Limited, provides technology transfer agreements. Let's go one layer deeper into what InSpace is able to provide. InSpace has something called the InSpace Seed Fund Scheme, which provides 1 crore rupees worth of startup capital to budding entrepreneurs. They also announced the TAF, which is the Technology Adoption Fund, 500 crore rupees, which would be deployed over a period of 5 years. Now, there are two models. If you're an established company, you are able to request for reimbursement of up to 40% of your project cost. If you were a registered startup, you could claim up to a 60% reimbursement on your project cost. And the objective of the Technology Adoption Fund is to help the space tech companies go from something called Technology Readiness Level 3 or 4, which is sort of a prototype, to Technology Readiness Level 7 to 8, which is that you have a product. And let's take a step back for a second and think about the capital support that InSpace is able to provide startups. At the idea stage, you have the InSpace Seed Fund, and you want to get to a product that is tested. InSpace is able to support through its Technology Adoption Fund. But what happens when you have to commit
500 crores is a good amount to start. No, I mean the overall fund is worth of 500 crores, right? The capital will be deployed in 5 years. So 100 crore per year essentially. So I think it's not a lot, but I think just for testing purpose it's good enough.
serious capital. And this is where the government of India decided to go back, increase the in-space budget to account for something called the Antariksh Venture Capital Fund, which would take equity stakes in private startups that were doing space tech ventures.
Now we are talking
and the
about
broad check size of the Antariksh Venture Capital Fund is at the early growth stage, a 10 to 30 crore rupee check, and at the late growth stage, a 30 to 60 crore rupee check. Over a 4 to 5 year period, it is expected that the Antariksh Venture Capital Fund will support 40 companies. There is a very clear defense angle to most of our space ventures in India. The most prominent government scheme to support defense-focused startups is something called IDEX. This was operationalized as a 500 crore rupee grant-based scheme. Now, the Defense Innovation Organization DIO provides two types of IDEX grants. There is a Spark grant and there is a Prime grant. The Spark grant is typically to get to a prototype. You then move to a different grant called the Prime grant. Prime means that the technology is almost ready for prime time. And to date, a total of 650 IDEX grants have been made since inception. On top of the IDEX grants, you also have the Technology Development Fund that is from the DRDO's own budget. The Technology Development Fund aims to provide a reimbursement for up to 90% of project cost with a cap of 10 crore rupees. And therefore, the government is providing a lot of support to India's private space tech ecosystem.
Right.
300 plus undergraduate students interned
Right.
at
So
India.
500 crore through in space per year अगर देखा जाए तो 100 crore लेते हैं. प्लस वो जो दूसरा एक फंड था उसके अंडर से वो 60 करोड़ दे रहे थे. प्लस आईडेक्स जो है वो डिफेंस के लिए बनाया हुआ है. वो डिफेंस और एरोस्पेस ऑब्वियसली देयर इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ ओवरलैप. तो उसके अंदर से भी मतलब इमीडिएट अटेनेबल फंड फॉर अ सीड स्टेज स्टार्टअप, एकदम शुरू में अगर स्टार्टअप का स्टेज है तो इट इज़ द अटेनेबल फंडिंग विल स्टिल बी in the north of 15 to 30 crore easily, right? At least one of these schemes. And outside of these schemes, there are again ways to sort of get project level funding from the government. So 15-30 crore में क्या हो सकता है?
Biggest companies: Zomato, Philips, Nestle, Zepto.
In part 3, we're going to rewind the clock to 2010 to just understand what happened over this period for space tech in India. Before we tell you what happened, let's actually look at which companies got started. In 2012, Dhruva Space got started. 2015, Bellatrix came into action. 2017 saw both Agnikul Cosmos and SatSure. 2018 was when Skyroot came about.
Damn,
A year
2018 is like 7 years ago.
later in 2019, Pixel came about.
Holy
All
shit.
of these names are companies today that are very close to making commercial launches, but all of these companies were started by daring entrepreneurs in this 2010 to 2020 era when there was no firm clarity regarding the role of the private sector in India's space ecosystem. And let's look at now what happened from the government perspective. The dark moment for India's private space ecosystem was in February of 2011 when ISRO's decided to terminate a lease agreement with Devas Multimedia. Devas Multimedia was looking to put India's first commercial satellite up in space, and obviously when this was blocked, it was a very dark moment. There were a bunch of legal cases, and ultimately Devas Multimedia had to shut down. There was a 6-year period of relative silence until February 2017 when our C-37 PSLV went up into space. It carried 104 satellites, 3 of which were Indian, 101 of which were of foreign origin. This one flight solidified ISRO's position as a globally competitive player to be able to launch small sats or CubeSats. And in June 2018, the Union Cabinet decided to double down.
So अब ये जो PSLV है, even this PSLV is or SSLV or PSLV is getting manufactured by private players now, right?
providing a commitment to fund 30 further missions. It meant that India was now signaling in 2018 to the world that it is an option to be able to launch foreign satellites. If I just rewind a little bit to 2017, the cabinet also came out with the draft Space Activities Bill. Now, this draft Space Activities Bill was never acted upon, but this 2017 bill provided the basis for what was going to happen in 2020. And finally, in June 2020, you had the first set of announcements to open up India's space tech ecosystem, and that resulted in the creation of InSpace. So this period from 2010 to 2020 saw a lot of today's space tech pioneers get started as incubations or ideas with small amounts of capital. And it is also the period where we went through quite a rocky phase of the private sector being cut out of the ecosystem and then the private sector being brought in at the tail end of the decade. And therefore 2020 ended on a very positive note with what would lay the foundation for the new space. The question is, what comes next? India's space tech ecosystem is today a $10 billion opportunity. It's projected to grow from $10 to $40 billion over the next 7 years. And what are the two triggers?
Over the next... So 10 का 40 मतलब कितना रहता है अभी? 3 times. कितना growth रहता है? 300% growth. 300% ग्रोथ का मतलब पर ईयर कितना रहता है? 7 साल में ना 25 150 बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया रे.
They are founders and funding. So let's look at founders. So far, the archetype of founders building in India's space ecosystem come from pedigreed research institutions like IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, BITS across various campuses, or they come from ISRO itself. But if you take a step back and look at the pattern...
Damn, boy. Dhruva, are they talking about you?
Institutions like IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, BITS across various campuses, or they come from ISRO itself. But if you take a step back and look at the pattern that has played out in different sectors in India, go back to e-commerce, the rise and success of Flipkart spun out 1,000 startups over the course of 10 years. Everything from CureFit, Udaan, Rapido, Spinny, Scapia can trace their origins to Flipkart. The same story is starting to play out with Pixel and a few of the marquee leaders in India's space tech ecosystem. A lot of this talent has stuck around for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. They've potentially seen 1 or 2 launches and the first commercial contract. They now have the fire in their belly to go and start a business themselves. So you will see an explosion in the founder ecosystem coming out of these companies that are starting to see commercial success. Now let's look at the funding on the capital side. Unlike software businesses, you can't sit in your pajamas in your house and code up something and make it into a space tech venture. You need to invest in facilities, in clean rooms, in hardware that costs real money, and iteration is expensive. What you will start to see is the commercial success that results in founders starting companies will also embolden investors to double down on the ecosystem. For example, some of the early investors in Pixel like GrowX Ventures have already been able to take a 17x partial exit on their position in a short period of 7 to 8 years. So this ability to see cash returns from the sector is what will spur the next set of investors to come in and invest in India's space tech ecosystem.
17x is insane. In 7 years, तुम्हारा पैसा 17x होना is insane.
Already started to see this with India's semiconductor ecosystem, where there have been 10 material exits, and now you go and ask any venture investor where there have been 10. We've already started to see this with India's semiconductor ecosystem, where there have been 10 material exits, and now you go and ask any venture investor in the country, they are very happy to explore an investment in a semiconductor business. And finally, not only will you see venture investors gain these partial liquidity options, we will hopefully in the next 3 to 5 years see our first private space tech company do an IPO, and the cash returns from these liquidity events is what will drive investors to not just deploy seed money but also start to deploy growth money into India's space tech ecosystem.
Right. Insane.
And before we wrap up I want to tell you about a conversation that I had with my grandfather. If I told him that I would be doing this breakdown, he asked me to remind you of the day 21st November 1963. If you know what that day is, before skipping ahead, please comment below. That was the day India and ISRO managed to make their first launch. And this launch vehicle was carried at the back of a bicycle through the sandy lanes of Thumba near Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. You'll be amazed that ISRO's ground control station and office for that launch was not even a makeshift cabin. It was literally the premises of a church of Saint Mary Magdalene. And what my grandfather wants to remind all of us here today is that India often, because of our colonial history, tends to be late to technology themes, and therefore we are written off even before we have a chance to start. But when as a nation we decide to commit not just capital but also our mind and put our heart and soul into it, we're able to catch up and we're able to exceed even people's wildest imagination, which is what we've done in the last 15 years with the Chandrayaan and Mangalyaan missions. That's all from us on part 1 of our breakdown of India.
Part 1
does $10 billion space tech opportunity.
Okay, so good video, right? Good video, right? You know, it is interesting to see how people, like, you know, outside of just studying the industry, it is interesting to see how people can endure not getting funding, not getting paid a lot for like 10 years, right? I mean, they started their startup in what, 2016, 2015. So for 5 to 7 years of their life, they did not make any money, any or very less amount of money. And now they are getting to a point where they are launching their satellites and shit like that, you know. So they have a good product now. So good info. Yeah. So a lot of grants available. Still did not answer the question where exactly we should start a business in which space and what components should we manufacture, or what technology should we go for. But I mean, it is just interesting to see how such startups exist essentially, right? Freaking भाई तपस्या रहती है. 10-15 years is a crazy amount of time जहाँ पे a lot of people fucking just die off because the time is just is a hard thing to overcome. You cannot do anything. You cannot do shit for like 10 years without making money out of it. It's insane. We have to think about deep space. Yes, actually. Right? So, I mean, Dhruva, you can definitely actually give so many inputs on this. We can have really good conversation on this as a whole. You know what? Like in general, through this video, did he just talk about aerospace as in just commercial vehicles, commercial planes and all of that, or was he also talking about space and stuff? He was talking about space and stuff as well, right? But maybe just for the commercial purpose of bringing satellites to the orbits, right? So मतलब अभी most of the जो काम चल रहा है वो लॉन्च व्हीकल्स बनाने पे चल रहा है, जो लॉन्च व्हीकल्स लोगों के लिए सैटेलाइट्स ऑर्बिट में डाल सके. दिस वीडियो वाज अबाउट स्पेस सोनली. हाँ, एग्जैक्टली, इट वाज अबाउट स्पेस. लॉन्च व्हीकल, यस, हाँ, एग्जैक्टली. बट द ओनली कमर्शियल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से था ये सब. Right, so the only application of creating a launch vehicle only real commercial application of putting a launch vehicle in the space is to take satellites to the space, different satellites, companies ke satellites, countries ke satellites to the space. That is the only commercial value of creating a launch vehicle right now, right? But look, it's the same thing, right? Even Elon Musk is trying to do the same thing in US, right? He's trying to take the cost of creating a launch vehicle down by doing all of this renew, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, क्या बोलते हैं यार उसको, वापस से लैंड करवाना, सेम मतलब रीयूज़ करना बेसिकली लॉन्च व्हीकल्स को. तो his ultimate goal is to take everyone to Mars, but he unfortunately has to sort of become commercial. और उसको ये भी देखना पड़ रहा है कि how can we reduce the prices in order to take launch vehicles to space with the lowest amount of money, so that he can put a lot of satellites into space on a daily basis. So उसको वो पहले figure out करना पड़ेगा, because that gives them the money that is required in order to fund their ambition to go to Mars. Right? That's the thing. What else? Deep space means what, Dhruva? What does deep space mean? The unfortunate thing is, right, the industries are built out of commercial importance and not out of ambition, and or not out of just because people want to go to Mars doesn't mean it creates industry. If people are willing to pay the value for going to Mars, or money to go to Mars, then only it is an actual industry in the first place. So that's that's an interesting thing to think about. You can search about deep space. Do you see the screen? Oh, sorry. Okay, what is it? Shit, by my ass. My ass hurts. The technical definition, there are two main ways the space community defines start of deep space. Okay? The ITU definition, regulatory. The International Telecommunication Union defines deep space as starting 2 million kilometers, 1.2 million miles from Earth surface. That's insane. This is strict regulatory boundary because spacecrafts beyond this distance must use specific protected radio frequency bands to avoid interference with the satellites orbiting closer to Earth. Okay? NASA's Deep Space Network often considers anything beyond 16,000 to 32,000 kilometers from Earth as deep space. This is because at this distance the spacecraft is far enough away that it can be continuously seen by a single ground station for a long period as the Earth rotates, requiring specialized high gain antennas. That's a long distance. 2 million kilometers is too far away. 16,000 seems fair enough. Deep space and near space. To understand the scope, it helps to look at the regions. Near Earth space, everything from the atmosphere up to geostationary orbit, about 35,000 kilometers. This is where the ISS and GPS satellites live. The region between Earth and the Moon is 3,84,000 kilometers. While the moon is often called deep space in popular culture, by ITU standards it's near space. That's insane. That is freaking insane, bhai. Interstellar space. Okay, the Indian context ISRO deep space capabilities. Since you are asking about the Indian Deep Space Network, based in Bailuru near Bengaluru, it features a massive 32-meter dish antenna that allows ISRO to track missions far beyond moon. Okay. The IDSN currently supports Aditya L1 solar mission and was primary link for Chandrayaan 3 lunar mission and the Mars orbiter mission Mangalyaan. So future scope, India's upcoming deep space roadmap includes Shukrayaan. Okay. So most of the deep space projects are more of like an R&D projects, right? For obvious reasons, these are R&D projects, both of which will require significant upgrades to the India's deep space tracking and at autonomous navigation tech. Key challenges of deep space. Why is deep space treated differently than regular space? Communication latency. Signals travel at the speed of light. For a Mars mission, a simple hello takes between 3 to 22 minutes to reach Earth. Real-time control is impossible. The craft must be autonomous. Acha. Okay. The inverse square law. Signal strength drops drastically with distance. You hear a whisper from probe near Jupiter. You need antennas of this size of a football field, like 70-meter dishes in NASA DSN. We can arrange that, I think. That's not an issue. Radiation. Once you leave Earth's protective magnetosphere, which ends before you reach deep space, spacecrafts and astronauts are hammered by high energy cosmic rays and solar flares. There is no GPS in the deep space. Okay. Engineers use atomic clocks. God damn, why? At two different spots to find the spacecraft's position within a few meters across millions of kilometers. Where the investment is going. In the current aerospace and deep space is no longer just for government. Investments are flowing into deep space optical communication, using lasers instead of radio to send high definition video from Mars. NASA successfully tested this in 2024. अच्छा, तो वो लेज़र से इंस्टेड ऑफ रेडियो वो लेज़र से इंफॉर्मेशन सेंड कर रहे हैं. That shit is insane. Nuclear propulsion to cut travel time to Mars from 9 months to 3 months, reducing radiation exposure for humans. Fair. Startups are looking to build internet in deep space. Okay. So every probe doesn't need its own giant 32-meter dish to talk to Earth. You know, space exploration is not an industry, right? And most of these deep space opportunities are in communication as such. Yeah. Most of the deep space investment is going in communications and networks and stuff like that. So deep space exploration communication are primarily challenged by extreme distances causing significant signal delays, high radiation environments, limited power for transmission, and need for high level autonomy. Key hurdles include maintaining communication reliability, protecting human health from radiation, developing efficient propulsion, and managing high costs. Key challenges of deep space communication: distance and latency. Signals take minutes to hours to travel, making a real-time control impossible and necessitates autonomous operations, which is fair. Can make equipment to support deep space tech. Acha, okay. So yeah, this is what you are talking about, right? So signals take minutes. So मतलब उसको इतना autonomous बनाना है वो spacecraft को, make it so autonomous so it does not have to communicate back to Earth. It can make sort of decisions by itself. Signal degradation, vast distance weakens the signal transmitters or large sensitive antennas such as अच्छा environmental interference, solar flares और cosmic radiation. अच्छा ये material सारा ये होता है ना, ये भी अलग से material बनाया जाता है. Like solar flares or ये cosmic radiation, plasma interference can disrupt and corrupt the communication signals. So there is this different material is used in order to, there is some coating also done, right, to avoid these solar flares and cosmic radiation and all of that. So that seems to be a good idea, right? There has to be some different kind of material or coating needs to be done in order to protect the equipment getting exposure to cosmic radiation and solar flares and stuff like that in space. So even manufacturing of that is, I think, a good idea. Power constraints. Spacecraft have limited energy, often relying on radioisotopes and thermoelectric generators, making high bandwidth communication difficult. Key challenges in deep space exploration, radiation protection, cosmic rays. ये तो challenge है ना. So shielding requires advanced shielding. ये shielding manufacturing करा जा सकता है ना. Coating and shielding can make equipment to support. Yeah. So chemical rockets are inefficient for long duration. Deep space missions demanding advanced, faster and more efficient, such as nuclear, thermal or electric propulsion, says research. Acha. So chemical is inefficient. So nuclear वगैरह, nuclear, thermal, electric propulsion system अलग प्रकार की हो सकती है. Not the normal chemical propulsion system. Life support and sustainability missions are required. Okay. Autonomous systems, due to communication lag, spacecraft must operate independently, yet autonomous AI technologies for such critical tasks are still developing. Okay. Brother, that seems to be an interesting thing, right? Autonomous systems तैयार करना. Deep tech deep tech, I mean deep space में what kind of is it like वो satellites तो जाने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ती होगी वहाँ पे. So we are talking about deep space में क्या जाता है. Deep space का I think सारी जो equipment वगैरह रहेगा, you will have to sell it to the government itself, because nobody else is really trying to go into deep space. Why would they, right? Because people just are creating those launch vehicles and satellites in order to put them in the orbit. So only the government is doing the R&D and space exploration stuff. So we may have to the customer is essentially the government, which is fair. So this is an interesting area where the AI technology can be sort of deployed to make the system autonomous. So it should not need any requirement to communicate with Earth. That is an interesting thing and has to be sold to the government itself. Psychological factors. Let's not go there. The expense of developing, launching and operating deep space technology is immense, and according to BSI, okay, ठीक है. So the expenses are high, the technical complexity is high, right? So Dhruva, the thing is, if you get into deep space, how are you going to commercialize it? You'll have to only sell to the government, and the government will. Government will government usually just keeps on postponing their exploration objectives. In India, I don't think it will be beneficial at all. Even in US, just NASA is the only company that is doing space exploration. Other companies, even SpaceX is not doing space exploration anymore. They're trying to again do the same thing, reducing the cost for creating a launch vehicle. So we need a lot of people in the ecosystem. We don't need just the government to sell to. We need private players whom we can sell to. So it probably makes more sense. So the autonomous system तैयार करना AI से वगैरह वो सब interesting है, but it is just that there are not too many customers. Because even if you think about it, right, deep space में जाने वाले कितने ही countries रहेंगे? India, China of course, US रहेगा of course, और किसका है? और किसका स्पेस प्रोग्राम बहुत कॉम्प्रहेंसिव है? और 4-5 कंट्रीज रहेंगे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा. जापान रहेगा, जर्मनी रहेगा. जर्मनी आई डोंट थिंक सो, बट आई डोंट थिंक सो. लेट्स सी which are the countries with space programs. yeah, Russia of course, Japan है, और यूरोपियन स्पेस एजेंसी है, चाइना है, इंडिया है. दैट्स इट, लाइक 5 to 6 countries overall. These are the only customers. Canada का है, मिडिल ईस्ट का है, लैटिन अमेरिका. बट द फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ द एयरक्राफ्ट they are sending is also going to be very less. So one of the things I think will work, right, is creating AI chips. No, not creating AI chips, but creating satellite payload that consists of these AI chips. Right? I think it makes a lot of sense. Ki you should be creating satellite payload that can also accommodate for AI chips and inference capabilities. Right? I think that's a pretty decent. Yeah, I get the point. Yeah. So creating that sort of stuff is, I think, an interesting proposition to make. कि पेलोड के अंदर ही तुम AI चिप्स डाल रहे हो या फिर इन्फरेंस कैपेबिलिटीज ऐड कर रहे हो. For what application we'll have to search, but I think it's a good idea. I think it makes sense कि पेलोड के अंदर we create a payload जिसके अंदर we are putting inference capabilities using AI. मतलब AI के चिप्स डाल रहे हैं बेसिकली हम उसके अंदर. So it may be for anything, right? It may be for, forecasting, weather forecasting, right? Even for weather forecasting, we might add AI capabilities in weather forecasting in order to make better inferences and in order to improve the forecasting capability of the satellite, right? I think that is something that can be sort of explored. And even वो, right, ये coating वाला option, manufacturing these coating materials, or the material that is specifically used for aerospace industry. Manufacturing of that material is I think a good opportunity overall. कोटिंग मटेरियल यार, ये लोग ना बहुत ये करते हैं भाई. I mean people underestimate these small but large, क्या बोलते हैं मतलब लार्ज स्केल इन द सेंस मतलब मास प्रोडक्शन की जो चीज़ें रहती है ना, पीपल यूजुअली इग्नोर दोज. लोगों को लगता है कि यार क्या पेंट और कोटिंग ये कितना ही इंडस्ट्री रहेगा. इट इज़ अ वेरी ह्यूज इंडस्ट्री. कोटिंग इज़ अ वेरी बिग इंडस्ट्री इन इंडिया. So if you create material that is specifically made for space, रेडिएशन और ये सब हैंडल करने के लिए, सोलर फ्लेयर वगैरह ये सब हैंडल करने के लिए, इफ़ यू मेड दैट मटेरियल, एंड आई थिंक यू कैन मेक इट प्रॉपर लाइक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग लाइक बिजनेस. मतलब एकदम क्या बोलते हैं उसको लिटरली लाइक प्लग एंड प्ले टाइप ऑफ अ बिजनेस, जहाँ पे तुम बस एक एसेट्स बना लो अपने, एक फैक्ट्री सेटअप करो एंड जस्ट कीप ऑन एडिंग मोर एफिशिएंसी, कीप ऑन थ्रोइंग रॉ material and getting output essentially from the factory, and you can keep getting money that way. So I think that also makes a lot of sense. What else does make a lot of sense? Yeah, component manufacturing. So I know this guy. He is from Pune only. I have actually talked with him in one of the seminars for automotive. Right, this Astrofel guy. He manufactures cryogenic pumps, and he has tested these pumps with ISRO as well. So he is this मतलब ये actually ये college graduate है, like 2022 में I think वो graduate हुआ था. PICT से, PICT पुणे से. So he has created this company essentially. ये cryogenic pump बनाता है. So even manufacturing of these kind of components is good. It works. They've created courses and shit as well. I don't know, like manufacturing these kind of components, I am no expert when it comes to the understanding of different components in aerospace, but so how it works is usually right कि जब बड़े assemblies आते हैं ना, जब बड़े बड़े कंपनीज आके assembly shop सेटअप करते हैं इंडिया में, तब naturally component manufacturing की डिमांड बढ़ जाती है. तो नाउ व्हाट इज़ हैपनिंग इन इंडिया इज़ कि बहुत सारे बाहर के कंपनीज आके, जैसे कि एम्ब्रायर हो गया अभी, तो वो अडानी जैसे लोकल प्लेयर के साथ कोलैब करके, जैसे मारुति और सुजुकी ने किया था, वो कोलैब करके दे सेटअप देयर असेंबली शॉप्स फर्स्ट. सो वंस वी हैव इनफ ऑफ दीज असेंबली शॉप्स, naturally comes the demand for components. So components में भी ये होता है कि there in component manufacturers में भी tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 रहता है. tier 1 वाले सबसे हाई लेवल के components बनाते हैं, tier 2 वाले tier 1 के सप्लायर रहते हैं बेसिकली, और tier 3 वाले tier 2 के सप्लायर रहते हैं. So the component breakdown can go up to like 4 levels after the assembly line. So there's this whole ecosystem requirement that is there. Once you set up a single assembly, उसके पीछे तुम पूरा इकोसिस्टम बना सकते हो कंपोनेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का, विच इज़ एन इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग, क्योंकि ये पुणे में है ऑलरेडी. ये सारी चीज़ें कंपोनेंट्स मैन्युफैक्चरर्स काफ़ी सारे हैं पुणे और चेन्नई एरिया में ऑटोमोटिव के लिए. सो सिमिलर थिंग्स विल हैपन विथ aerospace as well, where there will be a lot of requirement for setting up shops for component manufacturing. What else? So these are some of the things. I think we have studied this enough. एक क्या बोलते हैं उसको, क्वालिटेटिव सॉर्ट ऑफ एनालिसिस किया है आज अपन ने. थोड़ा सा स्टडी इन डिटेल एरोस्पेस के बारे में. क्वालिटेटिव लेवल पे we will get into quants in the later streams. We will try to understand the valuations of these larger companies, public and private both. We will try to study them in detail कि भाई उनके सारे कितने plants है, how many assembly shops they have. So based on which we will also try to identify who are their prime customers and what is the overall market size. तो उसके बाद हम इन सारी चीज़ों पे आएंगे. But first I want to understand, get a feel of the entire industry first, so that I deeply understand each segment कि कहाँ पे हमारे पास already market है और already manufacturing हो रहा है इंडिया में, और कहाँ पे there is a lot of scope. So accordingly we will study this in each stream and we will create a comprehensive report at the end of the day. So this was just a क्या बोलते हैं qualitative level का research. So in the next stream we will probably starting off with the report. तो वो report बनाना start करते हैं step wise. And in the further streams, in one of the further streams, we will also calculate the market sizing and the valuations for these startups and these companies as well. So उसके डिटेल में जाएंगे हम, उनके फाइनेंशियल्स के. तो एक पब्लिक कंपनी का तो सब कुछ पब्लिक रहता है, तो उनका तो मिल जाएगा अपन को. प्राइवेट लोगों का वी विल ट्राई टू कैलकुलेट इन सम वे, राइट. सो लेट्स सी. So yeah, thank you for watching this stream. Thank you, Dhruva. I mean that shit was insane. Having somebody from aerospace industry watching the entire stream and shit. I think we can get really good insights from Dhruva for this report, and I'll see you in the next one here. Thank you, Dhruva. Thank you. Good night. Alright, we will take Dhruva's advice, or we will take a small interview with Dhruva or something, so that we get a better idea and feel of the industry. Maybe he can give us some contacts to actually talk to some stakeholders in the industry as well. Let's see. So let's create a good report, guys. Let's aim to also sort of get customers for this report. Let's see how we can do this. Okay. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.